CGC responds to this scandal. And actually, they listen to me? Probably not. But let's break it down up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hey there, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. You can do all that stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and follow us on Bronzeville_comics on Instagram and whatnot. Link in the description for whatnot if you're not yet signed on. You can also find a link to my eBay store as well as my email. But I wanted to get to the CGC thing, and I posted a video yesterday where I went through what I thought CGC should do, where their responsibility lay. And I kind of used it in akin to a car manufacturer doing a recall on something that was wrong with the car. And actually, what CGC did was more or less in line with what I had recommended that they should do. I know they didn't listen to me, and my video probably came out just around the same time that the news broke from CGC. But let's take a look. I'm gonna go to this article from comicbook.com about CGC Comics issues statement on holder tampering controversy. So this came out at 11:09 a.m. I'm not sure when CGC released their. I'm trying to find. Something where CGC news statement post on 12/28. Okay, so actually let's go directly to this from CGC Comics. So this came out on 12/28. I'm not taking any credit whatsoever. It's just kind of coincidental. It came out around the time I posted my video yesterday. The certified collect, and if you want to look at that, feel free to do so. The certified collectibles group is aware of an incident involving an individual tampering with CGC comic holders. And just to give you a quick rundown, 9.9 newsstand found a copy of Amazing Spider-Man 252, Mark Jewelers CGC 9.8. Had the same certification number as a non-Mark Jewelers newsstand copy of Amazing Spider-Man 252. The books looked completely different. Different wraps. It was not the same book, but it had the same cert number. It had previously been sold. And then there was a large sale for that book. Following that same seller, Ryan from Automatic Comics had found an Incredible Hulk 181 9.0 blue label that this seller had sold, and found a copy that looked like it was the exact same copy with the exact same flaws, same wrap, and everything else that had been purchased online as an 8.5 qualified label, missing the Marvel value stamp. So putting two and two together, somehow the case was cracked, tampered with, and the original book was pulled out. So in the case of the Hulk, you buy a 9.0 slab. It's going to cost you some money, right? You buy a 9.0 slab, you take out the book that is a 9.0 with the Marvel value stamp. Put that to the side. You buy an 8.5 qualified, which sells for much less than an 8.5 or certainly a 9.0 blue label. You destroy that case. You don't need the case anymore. You take the inner well with the book out and slide it into the 9.0 blue label. Then there was a way they figured out to glue it and tamper with it and get it back together, or, heat to break it apart. And anyway, there's a video about that you can find on YouTube. I'm not an expert in doing such things. They slid the qualified book in, and potentially, and there's two different threads here, They send it back to CGC for a reholder. The case is damaged. It's a reholder of a 9.0 blue label. But really what's inside is an 8.5 qualified book. CGC reholder team, not the grading team. The reholder team looks, inner well is intact. The book hasn't been damaged. Sends it out in a brand new holder that's 9.0 blue label. Sell the book. Meanwhile, that same seller has sitting on the side here, takes out of the inner well, now has what was a 9.0 Incredible Hulk 181 that does have the Marvel value stamp, submits that one as well. Maybe gets a 9.0, again, blue label. He's going to get a blue label, somewhere between 8.5 and 9.2 likely, and then sells that one as well. Right? So you buy an 8.5 green label and a 9.0 blue label, and you sell two 9.0 blue labels. There's profit to be made there, certainly. So that's kind of the rundown. So let's go back to this statement from CGC. The Certified Collectibles Group, which includes Certified Guarantee Company, CGC, is aware of an incident involving an individual tampering with CGC Comics holders. Based on our initial review, we believe that the incident affects a few hundred comic books. That's a big deal, right? That is massive fraud on the part of the individual tampering with the books. And they say an individual. Sounds like just one person that was doing this. CGC exists to protect the collecting community, and in the last 36 years, we have certified more than 85 million collectibles, each one backed up by a comprehensive guarantee. The trust that we have built with our community sometimes makes us a target of bad actors, and despite our vigilance, this individual tampered with some of our holders. If you purchased one of the books that this individual tampered with, we will ensure that you are appropriately compensated for losses arising from any failures in our services. We expect to share a list of books that we believe are impacted as soon as possible. We have also retained a leading private investigative service and outside counsel to conduct a comprehensive review of this incident and our processes, and to help ensure that this individual is held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Good. We have already made significant improvements to our process as a result of this incident, and we will continue to take appropriate steps to help ensure that this type of incident does not happen again. We expect to share more information when we have it. In the meantime, if you have any questions or would like to share any information with CGC, please reach out to us at Report Fraud, et cetera, et cetera. So now there's two pieces here, and if you purchase one of the books that this individual tampered with, there's like I said, there are two separate streams, and I'm going to just go back so you can look at me fully at, just a second. So there are two separate situations here. One is the reholdering situation. There, I think CGC does have a responsibility because they did not do their due diligence to make sure that the book was what they then re-slabbed it as. They were duped. No question about it. So that book passed back through CGC. And as I said, when you send a book in for reholdering, and in my video yesterday, I talked about two situations where I had a slab mailed in a bubble mailer. Slab was damaged to differing degrees. In one case, I sent it back for a reholder, and it came back same grade, no problems. And in another case, it was a CPR candidate anyway, so I'm going to clean and press it. I haven't gotten to it yet, and then resubmit it, hopefully for a higher grade. But the first one, right? If the book is damaged in shipment and you get compensation, say from the seller, but you want to keep the book and send it in for a reholder, right? I think if the case is damaged to the point these were, it's reasonable to expect the seller to pay for the reholdering fee. But when you send it in, no matter how badly the case is damaged, if the book is intact, I don't think that CGC looks at it again. I think the reholdering team says, okay, nothing's changed in the book. Let's just reholder it. They don't regrade the book. So if the case is damaged to the point where it's reasonably easy to slip the book and the inner well out and put another one in, that's where the fraud comes in on the part of the person who's doing that. But CGC also let it pass through their hands without checking it. Now, we will see what happens when they do have a comprehensive list of books, because as I said in the video yesterday, they know who this seller is. They, assuming that that seller had their own CGC account, they're like, look at this guy. He asked for all these reholders. These are the books that went through us. If you have this cert number for, Amazing Spider-Man 252, Mark Jewelers insert 9.8, send it back. We'll check to make sure, and they can compare it potentially to pictures they have of the books when they first graded them. People have been able to find, and there's enough information out there when you look at either, Go Collect or GP Analysis to see pictures of these books. Heritage auctions, if they ever sold on Heritage, there's detailed pictures of those books in the slabs. So with enough investigation, it's possible to track them down, especially when they're high-priced rare books. 9.8 Mark Jewelers of big key books. Hulk 181s in high grade, whether or not they're qualified. So we'll see what happens at that point in time and how the individual bought that book will be made whole. If the individual, and again, CGC says it was an individual. They didn't say it was like multiple people doing it. They say an individual, and they have to know who that is. It's like the person exists. They had an account with CGC, and they were conducting potential, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but potential mail fraud. This was being shipped across states, whatever. Then there's a possibility that they were able to get the case open without damaging it, switch the books, and then reseal it, and then resell it without it ever going to CGC. That's a different situation, because CGC, the only kind of responsibility that someone could say that they would have is by not having their cases be tamper-proof enough. I think there's also some responsibility on the part of the buyer to investigate, to take a close look at when you buy a slab. And I'm probably guilty of that. I'm like, oh, this is a cool slab. And I kind of put it with other stuff. So now the question becomes, what happens in those two situations? Did it pass back through CGC or not? Was it something bought through eBay, through Heritage, and it seems like, or through Instagram, where as the buyer, you have proof that this was that you bought this book and how much you spent on it. These high value books, it probably wasn't like, somebody went to a show and said, oh yeah, I'll buy that 9.8 Mark Jewelers. Let me just get $8,000 in cash out right now. Probably not that kind of. So you'd have to prove that you have the book, that you bought the book, and you bought it from this guy. And it seems like most of this was recent enough, but what's concerning is the word hundreds, that it potentially affects hundreds of books. That this guy, man, he had an operation going on there. And the amount of money that he accumulated in fraudulent books is quite staggering. Now, also, it was a little bit of a Ponzi scheme, because you make a lot of money. Well, let's just say the Hulk 181, you're making several $1,000s. Now you're putting that money back in to buy more stuff to tamper with. It seems like he had a business model, and he was going with it until he got caught. Interested to see where this ends up, and hopefully this ends up with the law enforcement getting involved and coming down on this guy, and hopefully that sends a message to people who want to use this hobby to defraud collectors. So let me know what you think. A lot of people commenting on this particular situation. A lot of them have done a lot of research, more than I have, but I just wanted to kind of threw a video out yesterday. I usually don't do Friday videos, but figured I'd follow it up, because essentially what I said is what CGC is doing. They know who it is. They know the books that were reholdered by them. And I guess they were just getting all their ducks in a row before making a public statement, because there's a lot of legal issues I'm sure that they had to go through. It's not just like, I want to get that son of a gun and hold him accountable. They want to make sure that they have it lined up. And, this guy, he's hopefully in for a world of hurt. Thanks for stopping by. Take a look at a couple of other videos here. And this is Jim saying, until next time, enjoy your comics.